Farnsworth speaking. John DeRosa, our chairman, is unable to attend this meeting, and he's asked me to convene the meeting in his absence. I'm perfectly willing to do so. However, I would request a vote of confidence from the board, and I'll entertain a motion to elect me as temporary chairman for this meeting.
Motion to elect Paul Farnsworth, temporary chairman.
This is Todd Johnston. I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that Paul Farnsworth convene this meeting today. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, are there any nays or abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the vote carries unanimously, and I hereby officially call this meeting to order. And I'm seeing 9:03 a.m. The official time clock. Rochelle, what are you seeing as the start time?
Yep, 9:03.
Okay. Okay, first order of business is review of the previous meeting minutes. And this is the meeting of December 21st, 2023. And has everyone had the opportunity to review those minutes? If not, we'll give you a moment or two to check those through. Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of December 21st?
This is Todd Johnston. I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from December 21st.
And do I hear a second to that motion?
Mr. Chairman, Peter Kaluzian, I cannot vote for that. I was absent at the last meeting. That'll have to come from Sean.
Okay.
I was absent at that meeting as well.
Okay. Okay, not having.
I actually don't believe there's a requirement that you're in attendance for motions or voting on minutes.
Okay,
If that's acceptable after reviewing it, then Mr. Chairman, Peter Kaluzian, I second the motion.
okay, the board will accept that second. And we'll move to a vote. Is there any, but before voting, is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Okay, hearing no discussion. All those in favor of the meeting minutes of December 21st, 2023, please say aye.
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 Okay, and any opposition or any abstentions?
I abstain.
Okay.
Sean.
Okay, let the record show that Sean O'Reilly has abstained on the motion, but the vote passes. And why don't we just take a moment to introduce all of ourselves. I'm Paul Farnsworth, and I'm temporary chairman for today only, and a proud member of the licensing board. And everyone else, just let's start with board members. Peter, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Peter Kalouzian, a limited contractor. I too am happy to be serving on the licensing board.
Okay, Todd?
Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Johnston. I'm a public member and I am on part of this board also. I'm very happy to be on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sean?
Yeah, Thomas O'Reilly, contractor member for, I can't even count the years now. I think it's been 30 years.
Okay, and Rochelle, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure, it's Rochelle, board coordinator here with DCP.
Okay, and thank you for your fine work on our behalf, Rochelle.
Of course, thank you.
Janita
Okay.
Hamel, supervising special investigator with Consumer Protection Investigation Division for Occupational Professional Enforcement. Like your board member, Mr. O'Reilly, I too have been 30 years involved with this board and the department.
And we're comforted to know you're still here, Janita. You've done a wonderful job over many, I'll say decades now.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, John?
Good morning, everybody. John Messner, Occupational Trades Manager with the Department of Consumer Protection.
Thank you, thank you. And Jason?
And this is Jay Cohen, Director of Operations.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, continuing with the agenda. DCP Investigation Division Complaint Status Report. Janita, can you help us with that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I take myself off of mute. The report for the timeframe January 1st, 2024 through February 29th of 2024 contains two old cases, one from 2020 and one from 2019 that were closed. The 2019 file was based off of a site inspection that had been done. The company is out of Canada and they stopped responding to the investigator and the file was closed. In the 2020 file, 2020-124, is actually a workers' comp insurance claim that's closed as it was closed as a dispute of facts. It's not something that the department would investigate, but it came in and the contractor got a copy of it and disputed the facts and of the allegations, but we don't handle workers' comp or any kind of insurance claim. We take care of the licensing aspect. So that was closed. Both files were closed, sir.
Okay, Janita, can you tell us, is the board limited to this information or are we able to ask questions about these two cases?
If you're, I can just give you the basics. If you're looking for additional information or copies of it, then you would have to request that. What question do you have, sir? I don't have the files in front of me, so.
Well, I know that The board is not directly involved in these cases as it's being handled, and it was handled administratively. But a question that comes to mind, and only answer if you feel it's appropriate, is that on 2019-406,
Yeah.
we had a question of licensing compliance. And
Mhm.
if I understand the report, you were unable to finalize that because the defendant was no longer responding. Is that correct?
That's how the inspector closed the file, sir. Yes.
Okay. And was there work that was performed that was under investigation that was thereafter completed by a licensed contractor and a licensed individual? Do we know that, or is that a question that cannot be answered in this forum?
I don't have an answer for that, sir. I don't know. The other problem is, the f- is that the file is from 2019. This is 2024. I don't know and don't have an answer for you for that. If you wanted me to have the investigator give you a copy of what he has, I'm sure we would be able to ask Director Brown for us to get that information to you. But it would
Well-
only be what is contained inside the file as it exists.
Well, once again, the board has an interest in all things regarding licensing in the state of Connecticut. But I also understand that since the board was not directly involved in either of these cases, that we may be limited in what is accessible to us. So what I would ask is, if it's appropriate and allowable under the terms and conditions, we would just like to have an understanding of, if not the outcome, because the defendant's no longer responding, but at least the outcome of the situation with the licensing compliance. Was the equipment in question ever worked on by a licensed, definitely a licensed contractor and a licensed individual? And again, if that's inappropriate for the board to request, then we understand that. But I have that question, and if the DCP could just consider the question and let us know your feelings on that.
Mr. Chairman, do we know after the fact if a licensed contractor went in and completed the work? No, we wouldn't have that information. The day of the inspection, we go on site. If we find a violation, we notify everybody through a notice of inspection, and then we contact the contractor or the company owner for the company and explain that this is what we have, this is what we need, and this is what we're looking for. Do we go back again to see if somebody licensed completed the work on a construction site on work? Sir, with all due respect, I don't have the staff to do that. So I would not, my inspector and I would not have that answer for you.
Okay, I understand. Any other questions from board members about either of the cases? Okay, Janita, thank you for that explanation. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me explain one other thing. part of this too started, and then we had COVID and everything was shut down.
Mhm.
Okay. So we had that for a couple years. Then I had 2 inspectors retire. So it was only me and 2 inspectors for the entire state. A year and a half ago, we were able to hire 2 additional inspectors. And at the in the middle of December and on March 22nd, we hired 2 additional inspectors. So now I have 6 inspectors, which I did not ever have before. So, just trying to put a little bit into perspective too. And unfortunately, if people are from out of state or out of the country, it makes it increasingly difficult for us to get the answers and the information we need.
Thank you for that explanation, Janita. And I'm happy to hear that you've got greater resources now. And I appreciate everything that you do. So thank you again.
You're welcome. The other thing with the addition of the 2 inspectors that we just recently had, and with one of them from the year and a half ago, we are able to attempt to try to do more licensing compliance on-site inspections. And we have done 2 dual inspections with Department of Labor Wage and Workplace Standards, where we've done DOL and DCP combined on 2 large-scale job sites. One day in New Haven and one day was in Stamford.
Okay. Thank you again, Janita.
You're
Um,
welcome, sir.
Okay, if there's no further questions on that matter, we'll move on to the agenda item of old business. And the agenda is stating that there may be updates on PSI exam results. Do we have any updates on those PSI results?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I believe it was the last meeting that we're in, that John had acknowledged that he was forwarded that report, but wasn't able to distribute the report to the board members, and he was gonna review it and forward it out. So I'm not sure if he ever got that forwarded, for that review or not. If it's still needed, I could have, Rochelle just forward out that report to the board members.
Okay, I think that would be appropriate under the circumstances. Any comments by other board members regarding that?
You're muted, Todd.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I was on another screen. I didn't see the speaker was muted. I just want to mention I did not receive the report. So if that could be forwarded out, that would be good.
Okay. Yeah, like the chairman said, given the situation today, with John's absence, I'll have Rochelle just send that out so everybody has it.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, next agenda item is new business.
I'm sorry, acting chairman. But with old business still, there's the old business I saw in the meeting minutes from back in December. And it was dealing with, our chairman was gonna talk with how we could be part of the application review. I think it's more, more of my concern is, and you may recall, maybe a year or so ago, we had one person apply for a level higher than they were allowed. And it was just waived by the people on the board. And I think that's part of why we want to be more part of the review. I'm sorry if I'm not exact on the particulars, but I'm sure you remember that.
Yeah, point of order, Member Johnston. That would have been waived by the department, not by the board. Is that what you meant?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. All right, what we could do is put this on the agenda specifically when Acting Chairman DeRosa will be present and he can speak to that matter. And we can have a forthright discussion about it as the next meeting would be the best forum for that. And another thing that I'd like to put on the agenda for the next meeting is a general discussion about injuries and fatalities related to the elevator industry. I think what gets lost in the discussion and over the years is the fact that we are a licensing board that administers to a dangerous trade. The elevator trade is a dangerous trade. And not only for the installers, maintainers, and repairers of elevators, but also the general public. And when I see administrators making licensing decisions, it concerns me. It concerns me for the fact that there are multiple fatalities per year related to elevators. And to award licenses to people who may or may not be qualified by people who may or may not understand our trade because they're administrators and not professionals or members of this board concerns me. And what I'm hoping is that we do not need to have a fatality in Connecticut to bring this to the attention of everyone. So let's have the discussion now, meaning the next meeting, and hope that we never have to have the discussion after a severe injury or a fatality.
Mr. Chairman, I see a hand up.
Yes, John.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a comment to your statement there. And again, just so that Board Member Johnson has a understanding as well to the pathway. The applications do come in. Believe it or not, we don't get many applications in the elevator crafts. When the applications do come in, they're reviewed by licensing services. The licensing services staff has a list of requirements in order to be eligible to obtain that license. And a lot of the individuals that are applying for licensure do not meet the standards set forth by the board and that is upheld by the department. So therefore, those applications are typically what's called a recommendation for denial. When that recommendation for denial occurs, they have two pathways to attempt to try to become licensed in the state, or the opportunity for examination within the state of Connecticut. That is, one, bring the information that's required by the department back. So in a lot of times it might be the education. And or they could come before the board and present what they believe is equivalent experience to the board for the board's determination. So by no means is it a means of circumventing the licensing board. If an application or an applicant wanted to utilize that pathway, they would definitely be before this board for that application review. Again, a lot of the applicants that we do have, that the applications do get reviewed, are, again, recommendation for denial because the license type that they're applying for, they do not meet the minimum qualifications to obtain. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that. I just want to go on the record just to bring that point up for everybody, so everybody's on the same page.
Thank you for that explanation, John.
Yep.
Okay, we've reverted back to old business. Any further discussion on old business before we move on to new business? Okay, seeing no new business, has there been any correspondence that we should be aware of?
I have not received anything.
Hey, Paul, I thought you were just closing out old business under new business. I see Mike Griffin's name is still on the agenda as a board member. I don't believe he is. It's been several years since he's attended a meeting, and I just wonder how long or what the procedure is to remove the name. I mean, I believe he doesn't even live around here anymore.
Rochelle, would you be able to check the status of the last time that board member Griffin was in attendance? And I believe, if I recall, that if there were 3 consecutive meetings missed, that that would be automatically a resignation. And would you be able to check that as well? And if indeed he is technically no longer a member of the board, we'd like to have that brought forward for the next meeting so that the board can make recommendations for a replacement.
But it's not my wish to remove him if he doesn't want to be removed. Maybe we could give him a call and ask him.
That may be possible, Sean, but I believe the regulations are clear that upon missing a certain number of meetings, and I believe it's 3, that there's an automatic resignation as a result. There may be another phrase to describe it, but ultimately the board member would no longer be allowed to serve. Now, that wouldn't mean that he couldn't be reappointed, he or she couldn't be reappointed, but that would be the status of the member as technically resigning from the board by not attending 3 consecutive meetings. But I do need that to be checked by staff at their convenience. Okay, any other comments? Under new business, we just went back to new business briefly, and seeing no further comments on new business, concerns of any person present today. So I open that up to anyone who has any types of comments or concerns. Okay, seeing none, I want to thank everyone for their attendance and their participation. And we have a great system in the state of Connecticut. And I think that we should all be looking for improvements as well to make it even better. Any closing thoughts? If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
The board member Todd Johnston, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, Sean.
Okay, moved and seconded, and all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? No abstentions? Well, thank you all. I appreciate your attendance and your participation, and I hereby close this meeting of the Elevator Board and look forward to seeing you all at the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Have a good day now.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.